Alright, I am Wyatt Smith, and this is my final project. I did a vehicle implementation with PhysX for my final project, so I'll do a quick demo of that. You can see, got a four-wheel car and a track here. This is more of a demo than a game, but it's got all of the basic controls. Just uses the WASD keys to control the throttle and the steering, and then it also has a boost which you can use with shift or a handbrake with control. This doesn't actually use the vehicle SDK that PhysX has. I just couldn't get it to work, so this is what I came up with using base physics. I used a lot of joints and stuff like that to allow the different physics actors to work independently from each other. And then I created all of the assets for the game myself using Blender. So I've got this track and then a little bit of environment. See, definitely not perfect, but it's far more polished than what I started out with, and it's fun just to mess around with. You can hear there's an engine sound which I just got online, and then some music that I made. I think if I had some more time, I probably would have implemented a GUI and stuff. You can see that if it flips over, you can just use the arrow keys to flip back over. So yeah, I'll walk through some of the code really quick. You can see there's a lot going on in there's a couple functions in the happening every frame. So the first one is just the steering and the throttle. So that's controlled with the WASD keys, like I said, and then setting the drive on the joints, which is just part of the physics stuff. And then this is like the boost. It just makes some red plastic cubes just to show that you're boosting. And then the handbrake. The next function, it actually, so if you back up into something, just to make sure that the environment doesn't get in the way too much, this tries to move the near clipping plane so you can see. I can try to show that. So say back up into something like this, you can see the near clipping plane tries to make it so that you can still see the vehicle. So that's what this does. And then this ground force, since the physics stuff is a little touchy, sometimes the wheels will clip through the ground, and this tries to prevent that just by using some ray casting and stuff. And then this one, there's a look empty above the car that follows it, and that's basically what the camera focuses on. So that's a lot of what's happening behind the scenes. Also, to actually create the car, there's a couple different parts. There's the base of it, and then there's each of the wheels. But in between the base and the wheels, there's an axle for the front and the back, just to allow different range of motion and stuff like that. There's not too much else to show. It's fun just to mess around with, but also not too much here. I do have it also so that if you need to make the car jump or anything, you can use spacebar, or the other shift key will spin it, but it's not perfect. Yeah, I also want to show some of the stuff that I did in Blender really quick. First, here's the wheel model that I made. Actually, the physics shape that it uses is a capsule, but this is just the model that it shows. And then I had some textures and stuff on it. You can see also I used an old car model that I had made a while ago for the mesh, and it worked out pretty well. Also, you can see that once I bake the texture, then it definitely loses a little bit of quality, but it still looks pretty good for the game. I did have some trouble, you can see, so this is the first texture that I made for the wheel, and it looks a little more rubbery and realistic, especially if you use the cycles renderer. It looks pretty good, but I ended up going with this one because I had some trouble getting Blender textures over to the game engine. But I did end up figuring some of that stuff out. You can see also that I made all of the track and stuff in Blender. I'll show some of the progression of that really quick. So I started out just with, well, I think, yeah, this was just like the test terrain that I used when I was developing the vehicle, just to make sure it could go over different types of bumps and stuff. And then I was trying to develop a different track actually for the car to go on, and these are kind of the things that I came up with. But yeah, the final one was this, I think, which works pretty well. You can see some of the textures look more like they're out of the 2000s era or something, but it works. I also did I was like combining different textures and stuff. You can see there's grass and rocks, so you can see like I'm blending some of the different textures here using the shader nodes in Blender. And then once I got it to what I wanted, which was this, then I baked that to an image, which is what is used in the game engine. So that was cool to be able to do that stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to show. So thanks for watching.